I guess they're columnists who are responding to this, and he's talking about how his boyfriend really didn't like him bottoming. So, I mean, out of the hundreds of times we had sex, he topped me maybe 2 or 3 times. So I was guided by pragmatism to this open arrangement. I wanted to bottom sometimes. I can't with you. I find people I can't with. So.
Oh my God.
This is slate.com, everyone. Give it a hand. Give it Slate a hand.
Listen to me, clown world. You had better get on your knees and thank the Lord Jesus Christ that I do not have access to the button. You know what button I'm talking. I would right now I would nuke this motherfucker so fast.
Gotta smash that kike button.
Oh.
Remember to hit the button, everybody.
Oh. Christ. I mean,
I can't take any more faggot stories today.
Well, you have another coming.
Oh, no.
We have another coming.
It's in the stack.
Yeah, and this is from The Blast. Theblast.com. Don, you're from out there on the West Coast. Before all this happened, were you... I guess you probably watch the local news from time to time. Were you aware of KTLA anchor Chris Burrous?
Yeah, he's a familiar face. I didn't know him by name, but I'd seen him on TV before.
And when you saw him on TV, did you think, wow, that guy's queer?
No, not particularly, no. But he did strike me as the type that would like meth rocks shoved up his rectum.
Well, you're a very perceptive man.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because, yeah. This is a story, like I said, this is from theblast.com, whatever the hell that is. And here's the thing. It took 3 people to write this story. Gary Trock, Liz Walters, and Ryan Nauman.
Yeah, because one would puke and the other would have to take over.
Yeah. Headline, KTL anchor Chris Burrous. I learned this watching videos about it. His name is spelled like it's Burrous, like Greek or something, but he pronounces it Burrous. Anchor Chris Burrous died from overdose on crystal meth during Wild Tryst. And let me say, in a world of headlines that are just screaming in their over-exaggeration of how crazy the story is, this one is quite sedate compared to what you're about to hear. KTLA anchor Chris Burrous died from an overdose of crystal meth while engaging in vigorous sexual activity with a man he met on Grindr. According to the LA County Medical Examiner, Burrous died from methamphetamine toxicity after being found unresponsive in a Glendale motel on December 28th. The manner of death is listed as accidental. According to the death investigation, officials say Burrous worked his shift at KTLA and then left early for the day, complaining he felt ill. Instead of going home, he set up a meeting with a man at a motel in Glendale for an afternoon of hardcore sex. The two allegedly met on Grindr and had hooked up multiple times in the past. When the companion arrived, Burrous allegedly answered the door fully nude and had set up the room with DJ-style lighting, S&M toys, lubrication jelly, and a massage bench. The two men allegedly engaged in various forms of sexual activities. Yeah, that's one way to describe it. Various forms of sexual activities. At some point, now here's the crux of it. This is where it gets interesting.
This is where it becomes interesting for our listeners.
Yes. At some point during the meeting, 43-year-old Burrous allegedly inserted a rock of crystal meth into his body. In other words, into his butthole. He then allegedly gave his companion a syringe full of GHB and a bottle of Gatorade. The two became intimate again, and Burrous allegedly used another rock of meth before engaging in more sexual activity. Now, think about this. They go to booty banging. Well, first he boofs a rock of meth. He sticks a rock of meth up his butthole. Then they do a little booty banging. And he's like, wow, that was neat. Let's do that again. And he sticks another rock of meth up his butthole. And they...
Shit, he's got like anal beads made of meth.
Yeah, and they engage in more
sex. That shit, dude.
Yeah. Well, it gets worse, though. The report states Burrous also used poppers, an amyl nitrate inhaled that produces a euphoric effect. And this is a very common faggot thing, too. They said this is one of the things I used to have to sell at the smut shop. We had them in a glass counter right under the register. And these faggots would come in and they'd buy a bottle of this popper. And what they use it for is at the moment of orgasm, they huff it. And it's
like smelling salts.
Well, it's an extremely powerful stimulant. And so he's all hopped up on tons of meth. He's basically been shoveling meth into his ass with a concrete mixer. And now he's going to huff this shit, right? And he's going to do it while he is ejaculating, which is already a dangerous situation. He's methed up and then he's going to ejaculate, which causes your heartbeat to go up. And so, hey, why not hit a popper? Burrous allegedly told his companion he was feeling fine. Well, I bet he was. Until the man noticed him making a strange noise and flipped him over to realize Burrous had vomited inside his S&M mask.
Fucking gimp mask.
Yeah. The man called 911 and began to perform CPR on Burrous until emergency responders arrived. He was heartbroken to learn that CPR is not done by blowing into a man's asshole. He was transported.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't believe that either. Like, the dude's just like face is just caked with vomit.
Yeah. Well, imagine what else this guy had been blowing on. Is it really that unbelievable? He was transported to a nearby hospital and pronounced dead in the emergency room. During the death investigation, officials were told Burrous, who leaves behind a wife and young daughter, did not have a history of drug or alcohol abuse and apparently only used drugs recreationally. Oh, give me a fucking break. Mm-hmm. Once you get to the point that you are boofing meth rocks, you have gone so far beyond the point of recreation. I'm not trying to hear all that. Burrous, his companion, was cooperative throughout the investigation, and no foul play is suspected in his death.
I don't know. It sounded pretty foul to me.
I was going to say, this isn't foul. I don't know what is, man.
Yeah, this is some of the most foul shit I've ever heard. You know, I thought I had reached peak foul years and years ago when I worked at the smut shops. I'll never forget this. I will never, ever forget this. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning. The place was dead. And this one lone faggot came out of the back from the booths. And he was leaving. And he said, you better go check back there. I think there's somebody dead in booth 11. And I was like, what? And so I got my flashlight. And I went back there, and I went to booth 11. I turned on the flashlight, and I stood back and yanked the door open real fast like I was looking to see if there was a vampire behind it or something. And on the floor of this booth, there was an empty amyl nitrate, 2 dirty syringes, several little plastic baggies like Speed or Coke or whatever comes in. and a fucking dead rodent with a string tied to its tail.
What
the fuck?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm not going to describe the state the rodent was
Oh
in.
my god.
Oh. I imagine he was well lubricated, though.
Yeah.
You didn't
But
He pulled a Richard Gere. Oh.
yeah. But I just sat there imagining to myself this weird punk back there who, it's like, I mean, imagine how busy he was. He was shoveling tokens into the machine to watch gay porn or whatever. He was vigorously shooting up and huffing this popper back and forth between syringes in his veins and popper under his nose, and he's shoving some poor rodent up his ass. I mean, what? I mean, it's like, how do you have time to go to work? Or
how do you return to society after doing some shit like that?
Yeah, I mean, this is like some kind of a whole lifestyle. And shoot up, huff popper, stick rodents up my ass, and then leave out and get my last kicks out of it by telling the clerk to go back there and look. But this, I mean, even compared to that, this thing here is on a whole nother level, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, this famous TV anchor, this family man, he's feeling ill. So he meets a guy off Grindr. He shoves meth up his ass and does poppers and pukes into his S&M mask. I don't know if there's...
Fuck, these guys are alive after doing that shit, man. Because, I mean...
Well, he's not.
Have you been paying attention, Chill?
I mean,
he died of drowning because of puke and shit. But I'm talking about.
No, it says he died of methamphetamine. He died of methamphetamine toxicity.
Oh,
in other words, he overdosed on meth.
Puke.
Yeah, he shoved so much meth up his ass that it killed him. No, he didn't die from the puke. They got him all the way to the emergency room before he died.
God.
Death by misadventure.
I just can't even imagine the type of mindset you have to be in. Ugh.
Well, this is one of those times. You remember in that No Country for Old Men, when the bad guy, the Mexican or whatever he is, he asked the old man in the gas station, if this is the place that your path led you to, what good was the path? I mean, what path led this guy to this?
Well, I think this stuff is a lot more common. You know, this sort of lifestyle. Isn't this L.A. or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is just, you know, they pretend it's a seedy underbelly, but I think this is probably just like, you know, degeneracy is the level of general degeneracy is rising. You know,
well, think about the shit we don't hear about.
Right.
I can only fucking imagine.
Yeah, the shit people live through. Don, when you're out and about in the LA metro area, is it a common thing, like, you know, you're standing in a line and you see some dude in front of you and you like, I wonder if this guy shoves meth up his ass when he's having sex with people from Grindr?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I can't lie. I have to say that is true. That goes through my mind.
Can any of you?
If I leave the house and I go in public and go buy something somewhere, then it happens at least once a day.
Yeah. Caligula would have puked if he read this story.
Well, I think this guy sort of was proud of his degeneracy. Like we talked about, his last name is not pronounced Burrous, and as a journalist, he deliberately changed the pronunciation of his last name to sound like Burroughs, as in William S. Burroughs, who is also a notorious fucking junkie and degenerate homosexual.
Yeah. Well, one of the things, yeah, well, it is, and we can talk about that too. But I mean, one of the things that I'm stuck on here is the little short paragraph where it says, when the companion arrived, Burrous answered the door fully nude and had set up the room with DJ-style lighting, S&M toys, lubrication jelly, and a massage bench. And I can just imagine him saying something like, I'm sorry, I couldn't find any dries for the smoke machine. You know, I mean, obviously, his every waking moment when he wasn't, you know, having to think about what he was going to say on air or something, he was thinking about, oh boy, I'm going to get banged in the rectum tonight. What all do I need? Oh, I need DJ lighting and a massage table, and we're going to need the S&M toy. It's almost like the scene in the beginning of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. We're like, okay, we're going to go to Vegas. Oh, well, we're going to need plenty of meth and LSD. We need a fast car. Oh, and the cocaine. Don't forget the cocaine. Except this is all about faggotry.
You know, I just realized something. Amazon probably has an amazing database that can be of great use to know whether or not somebody's a faggot based off their purchases. Like somebody's buying DJ lighting strips, anal lube off Amazon.
Do they sell that crap?
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know they sell DJ style. They sell
sex toys and fucking everything, man.
So you can buy anal lube and jagged dildos and shit, but nothing with a Confederate flag on it.
The only thing you can't buy is guns, pretty much.
Well, you can't buy anything with a Confederate flag on it.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And they try to censor Pepe off there completely.
Yeah, I'm sure they've got a database going to this shit, man.
And the guy's wife was some Chinese woman he met at the office, and they had a little hoppa daughter and all that. I mean, can you imagine, like, the cops show up at your house late at night? Hello, what can I do for you? Well, we're sorry to inform you, your husband has died. He died? What, do you have car wreck? Well, no, ma'am.
Ass wreck.
He was having sex with a man in a motel, and he was shoving meth up his rectum and huffing poppers, and then he puked into his S&M mess. Wait, what you say?
English, please.
He don't do that at Robin Talk.
Oh, I hope he no pay $79. We got to bury him now. Oh man! And the other thing is that I thought was weird about it. I mean, if some public figure had died this way just in the recent past, like say it had been an anchor or something like that, they would have just said as little about it as possible. You know, if anything at all. They probably wouldn't have done anything on the TV news about it. They probably would have like posted something to their website about, you know, our condolences go out to the family, blah, blah, blah. He was a good anchor, whatever. But KTLA, they don't even address, you know, God almighty. I mean, we had no idea he was going out doing all this degenerate faggot shit, and now he's dead. Wow. You know, that's what you'd expect if they had to say something, but like, no. They put some other female anchor on there, and she just cries her ass off talking about what a great human being he was and everything.
I saw that.
Let me find it.
Give that woman an Oscar.
Yeah, let me find it here. Don, is there any level of degeneracy that is considered beyond the pale in LA now?
No, not at all. It's all encouraged and accepted.
Yeah.
Heterosexual missionary resulting in children.
Oh my God.
You may be a Nazi if.
Yeah. Let's see. This
that was a Stormer article a while ago. Like in Germany, they had that program to report Nazi parents. Like if your children are well behaved, study well, you know, had like
braided hair
and modest dress, participated in physical activities, and
yeah, if your son isn't fucking his friends, then he might.
The funniest one is, are they well behaved, and Well mannered.
Right. Do they not avail themselves of the school-issued butt plugs? Is their butt plug unused?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's just hard to believe that this sort of thing is what's considered normal now. And I can't say it often enough. Can any of you, I know you guys are probably, at least somewhat into history. Can any of you think of anything in the Roman Empire, the Greek city-states, Sodom and Gomorrah, any of it that lives up to this shit?
No.
I mean, Weimar wasn't even close to America now.
No. And people just consider it normal.
That I could get
Here
the
he
pickup
is.
truck of my dreams, and that's exactly what we did. We went out and got the most awesome Toyota pickup truck.
Oh,
that was my
God.
prize for getting to KTLA.
There he is with the high five photos that he became so famous for. We're remembering our friend, our colleague Chris Burrous this morning after he died
God.
suddenly in Glendale yesterday afternoon. I'm Christina Pascucci in for Jessica Holmes today.
I'm Eric Spillman in for Frank Buckley. Thank you for joining us on a very difficult day for our entire KTLA family. Chris was found unresponsive in a hotel in Glendale and what's being investigated as a possible overdose. Huge loss for us.
Yeah, they hadn't got the details yet. Let's see. Here's one from when they got the details. Let's see how they talk.
Yeah, our local industry was hit pretty hard upon learning of the death of KTLA anchor Chris Burrous. His autopsy, the results of which were released today, revealing the details of what happened that day that he died, but not much about what happened the days or years leading up to it. What factors
That's a way of spinning it. Oh, he was such a great guy before.
might have gone into it, and what might have been done to save his life and in the future save the life of others going down a similar path.
Well, we could
don't know.
we could
Criminalize
discourage
faggotry?
fucking faggotry. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one way.
Local news anchor Chris Burrous died December 27th of a methamphetamine overdose inside this Glendale hotel, according to his autopsy. The husband and father was using the drug while meeting with a male companion who alerted authorities.
It's a party drug. It's a party sex drug.
Life coach Mike Bayer himself was once addicted to meth and now helps those who still are.
Unfortunately, this story is a story about someone who kept secrets that ultimately led to, being in a spot where he lost his life. And I think what we can learn about this is if you're isolated, if you have secrets, if you feel like you need to get help and you have no one to talk to, reach out to someone.
Bayer has worked
So in other words, the culprit here is homophobia. And faggots are just not accepted enough in LA.
Yeah.
And if we were more
Tolerance
if we were more tolerant of homos in LA, then Chris Burrous would still be alive. I mean,
in the past with celebrities like Demi Lovato in her struggle with sobriety and says getting sober isn't as easy as simply stopping.
It's not a matter of just willpower. It's a matter of needing.
yeah, it is.
It literally is.
Yeah, as one of the few people that I know of, I mean, I can speak on this. I had alcohol and drug addiction issues myself for a long time. And listening to all this horse shit like this never got me one step closer to sobriety. And it's a fucking crime that every rehab you go to and every 12-step program you go to and all that, the first thing they try to do is get you to admit that you are powerless and tell you that willpower has nothing to do with it. You'll never beat it with willpower, that you have to give up and admit that you're defeated and then start doing all this weird cultish psychobabble horse shit. And that's why they have, by their own admission, like less than a 2% success rate, which I'm sure is vastly overblown. It's 100% about fucking willpower. Mm-hmm. You have to decide, well, there's something out there to live for more than, I guess in this guy's case, sticking meth up my ass and fucking faggots, you know, or like in my case, getting drunk and getting in trouble all the time and, you know, wrecking my life on drugs and shit. You have to decide there's something worth living for and then say, okay, well, you know what I am? I'm a fucking man, baby.
And you're never going to quit
stop
unless you want to.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean,
Nobody
this guy
can
was
make you
obviously,
quit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just waiting until I find the video where they say he died doing what he loved most. Sticking meth up his asshole and then getting it banged by a fag from Grindr. You know.
Gosh.
He was never happier than when he was wearing his bondage mask and getting plowed in the rectum on meth, and huffing
puking,
popper
and puking in said mask.
Yeah, he died close to the things he loved, his bondage mask and gag ball.
Well, there's a good and bad side to this story. The good side is we have a faggot dead. The bad side is we have another faggot that probably got off on that shit.
What do you mean, like erotically, or was not punished? What do you mean, got
Oh,
off?
no, erotically.
Yeah.
Well, that goes without saying, I guess.
Well, I mean, what could he possibly have done wrong?
He should go to fucking jail for that shit, honestly, now that I think about it.
Well, if
right, at least for possession, right?
Well,
for manslaughter, man.
Well, I mean, it may have been all Chris Burrous' meth, but I mean, he gave the guy a syringe of GHB, and that's another thing. I've never heard of anybody injecting GHB.
No.
I mean, it must have been a syringe, like, you know, if you got to give your dog wormer medicine, they say, here's a syringe, squirt this down the dog's throat. It must have been a syringe like that or something. I don't know. But because, I mean, and I will admit that GHB is one of the few drugs that I know very little about. You know, that and crocodile.
Oh, you don't like the flesh-eating drug there?
No, never tried it. Yeah, and bath salts, never was one for bath salts. Oh. But the time or two that I've seen someone else take GHB, I mean, you take that shit in tablespoons from what I've seen. I mean, that's a whole lot of injecting to do there if you're like shooting it up. But whatever, he gives the guy GHB. He's got a room full of poppers and meth and massage tables and DJ lights and jagged dildos and BDSM equipment. I mean,
you know, maybe we're misunderstanding this. See, I'm reading this, and it says a companion with a syringe full of GHB and a bottle of Gatorade. I think probably they mixed it, and then they used one of those larger syringes, you know, the large gauge ones that you use to like clean out stuff, and he just boofed that too.
Boof.
That sounds more plausible.
Well,
I don't want to talk about this.
No, I mean they've got so much meth-fueled degenerate sexual activity going on here that they're making sure to stay hydrated.
That's an important thing, right?
Safety first.
Yeah, you got to make sure that asshole can breathe.
Yeah.
See, this is all perfectly normal. There's nothing wrong with it. We need to teach children just how to do this kind of stuff safely. It's about education.
Yeah,
we are. I mean, we've got trannies and you know, sex educators and all that in our kindergartens, teaching them how it's okay to want to be a different gender. And here, let me demonstrate how to use a dildo in your anus. I mean, I'm not making either one of those things up. There's actually pictures of a particular, and it's like a woman. Thanks. She's not an unattractive woman, but she's like in, I mean, she's not naked and actually shoving it in her butt, but she's like in front of a bunch of elementary school kids, and she gets on. It was a huge controversy a few years ago when it happened. I doubt it would be a blip on the radar now, but she gets on the desk and lays on her back. She's in blue jeans. And she throws her legs up to where her knees are beside her ears, and she's got this big old purple dildo in both hands and is positioning it at the butthole. And, you know, she's explaining to her, okay, and then you just shove it in there, right? And these third graders are like, anal dildo, never thought about that. I might try that, you know. Just...